Hello and welcome into Off Topic, brought to you by Sorare Data. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Today to talk about, what did I pretend to talk about? Something about having fun, right? It's all about fun lately with Sorare. It's what you have to do when all of your cards are going down in value. You have to think, wait a minute, I think I do this for fun also, not just for money. And so that's what we're going to do today, and hopefully every day for the rest of our lives, because having fun is fun. Thanks to everyone coming in. Mike Baston was first in. It's Friday. It's 5 p.m. there. It's beer and Laird time. Appreciate that. Mike, hope you're enjoying the garden and you have some good weather. Ben Johnson was in second. Surface, good morning. Gator Guy 231 is here, having fun with his limited lineups. I am going to talk about that today because I told someone something earlier this week and they laughed at me. Alex Wilson says, money is fun. And sorry, Jordan said fun, fun, fun. And then Empire said it's all about the money, which I completely disagree with. I'm sorry that's the case. Germ, good to see you. Rikaman, my best game week rewards wise. Congratulations. Excited to see what you get. Raul, hello. And I think that was it. Oh, Malky's here. Alex Wilson, Forza Scandinavia. You said it, not me. Just saying. And I think I missed John Andrews here too. So thanks everyone for joining. Mike Basson said today's fun was keeping track of transfers and prospective transfers and keeping those players away from SO5 teams. What's funny is when I was going through all my lineups, like I did my lineups today. What's up, Kev? And I usually do them Thursday night. And a lot of that process was because the deadline used to be 6 a.m. for me, and I wasn't going to wake up at 4 or 5 to do my lineups. But this week, for some reason, I didn't really get many done last night. And then I did them this morning, and I actually messaged Gator Guy at like 9:15. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to finish my lineups. And I ended up finishing them. And I hate all of my lineups except maybe one, which, knowing how I do things, the excitement on a Friday just leads to the disappointment, usually by Friday afternoon. And so I think I actually have like a ton of players. Actually, I don't know if it's a ton of players. Black told me today he has like a lot of players going today. And so it looks like we already have lineups for Dusseldorf and Karlsruhe. Anyone? That's Von Itzek's team. But anyway, looks like everyone who you would think would start, at least for the away side, is in. And I'm off of Dusseldorf anyway. So to be honest, I don't really care what happens in that game. John Andrews, did your Scandinavia crew seem to think Olsen would play? I gambled in a lower priority lineup. What you did is pretty much what everyone said. That who knows? He played like 118 yesterday or something like that. I came off cramping a little bit. Seems like a spot for Midtjylland to rotate this week. I will say, from a utility standpoint, I got everything I wanted from Midtjylland up to this point. That beginning, before the season started, it was like they're going to play all these game weeks in a row. We got them all. Really unfortunate finish yesterday. The plus side is that we don't have to deal with this question every week now. You don't need European football in midweeks. It's okay. Hurts a little bit from the season-long contest or month-long contest perspective, but getting a better idea for who's going to play every week will help. The only bummer is they've signed about 17 center backs, and that might be the issue. We'll see what happens with that. Lee Hanbum off to the Asia Games at some point soon. I don't think he's even ready to play for them anyway, but apparently they signed someone else. I haven't even looked into it. So we'll see. Alex said I put all those guys in academy. Yeah, I don't even remember where I played Olsen. It definitely was not anywhere important. I played Lossell because I needed to. And John Andrews is absolutely right. European football can be overrated with the selection dilemmas for the weekend. It is kind of an interesting part that I think I forget who I was talking to. Oh, it might have been Chani, actually, about someone. Feyenoord? Probably Feyenoord, because he has a bunch of Feyenoord cards. and talking about like whether they can get out of the group stage. I actually don't think it was that conversation, but whatever it was like you absolutely want teams playing in Europa and Conference League. Unless you have like the heaviest champion in Europe hitters, you don't want Champions League. Games aren't like that high scoring, or if they are, it's by like Man City against the guys you probably have. And so you just want the Europa or the Conference Leagues because they're the easier matchups. The problem is exactly what we have with Midtjylland. Come the weekend, you're like, oh man, are these guys really going to play? And now we don't have to worry about it with Midtjylland. It's a bummer, but also it happens. Mike Basson's right. Olsen needs some more bananas. The loss of midweek utility is a bummer, certainly for the rotation side. And John Andrews is right. Better fitness bone. Oh, wait. Who knows? So we'll see. We'll see. Isco, what is up? Was saying midweek utility is a pain if you don't get the rewards to go with it. It makes the weekends extra painful. Just had Marcos Rojo ruin my cap 240 this weekend because he played midweek. Yeah, that's the problem that you get. Ugo said, I'm now selling Midtjylland. They've done the job at the start, but no more clean sheets are becoming, no more clean sheets or became a dream with them. I don't want to even talk to you anymore. The idea of selling Midtjylland cards is nuts. But Alex Wilson is right. Copenhagen are probably going to get slaughtered in the Champions League. At this point, you just hope for third, right? And I don't even remember what group they are in, but I remember seeing it and just being like, woof, they're in trouble. There's been like tweets everywhere. Let's see. They're with Bayern, Man United, and Galatasaray. Yeah. So great job qualifying for the Champions League there, Copenhagen, with the fresh white jerseys. Yeah, Alex, don't sleep on Galatasaray, even though they have United and Bayern there. It is fun that likely one of those three. I don't see Copenhagen getting out of that, but we'll see. One of those three is going to Europa. Mike Basson said, you cursed Midtjylland like you and Quinny did Marseille and Hertha last year. I had nothing to do with Hertha. I don't know about that. And I don't think they're cursed. I mean, this was a long shot anyway. This is a team that like battled relegation last year. I think in terms of like actual utility, we've already gotten way more than we should. Isco says Haber has his 3 stacks. Shit, I didn't even think about that. 3 stacks in the same UCL group. Midweek utility could be a pain. The plus side to this, though, is one of them is playing Copenhagen every midweek. So not so bad, but the others, obviously, yeah, that's a bummer for him. But that's what happens when you have really good cards like that. What was I saying before I got onto the Midtjylland thing? Sari Harrison says it could be a long weekend if St. Pauli don't smash in 30 minutes. I mean, they might not. They might not. I don't know. Alex said, at least I have a Mealing, Clayson, Larson stack of sorts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're going to get with that. We'll see. There was a really fun question here, which is actually, I didn't mean from Sari also. At what scarcity for most people does it not become fun? So that's kind of what I wanted to discuss today with where I've been having fun with Sorare lately. And it's not that the things that I was doing before are not fun, but I'm just having more fun with certain things. And it happens with this because, as Keith mentioned in the chat earlier, with limited time only, is the way that I'm looking at limiteds now in terms of trying to play them and flip them and all this stuff is just different than anything I've done on Sorare before this. And that's kind of what's fun about it, is it's given me a brand new way to play. And I already love Sorare, and being able to have like even a different way to look at it and be able to do things from the limited perspective that I can't do on the rare and super rare level is kind of exciting. And it's less because and it's not the same as what I used to do with limiteds. And I'll get into that in a second. Alex Wilson says, I'll never move beyond rare. The risk outlay is way too much for my well-being. And Isco says, I dove into super rares a bit and it was not fun. And it was out of my depth. Limited pro has been fun for me as a play and flip. So not limited pro. So I totally get that on the super rare things. I remember when I got my first super rare, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And there's a lot of obviously a pretty significant financial outlay when you do something like that. And so I get it. I totally get not playing that. I've considered not doing it myself. And so, Isco said Premier League Pro. Okay. But basically what I did the first time I bought limiteds, and I was at a very different place with my gallery at that time, like when limited started. I mean, everybody was. But the cool thing about limiteds when they came out is that it gave me an opportunity to get players that I couldn't afford in rare and certainly not super rare. And so what has happened since then, meaning not just like today since then, but over that time, I had been able to get rares and super rares of players that I bought in limiteds at the time that I couldn't get their rares and super rares. And that made it that changed a lot for me, because the way that I looked at limiteds when they started was that I tried to get the best players that were not the absolute best. So at the time, excuse me. So like Morioka and Kikuchi were so rare superstars at that time, and I couldn't get their rares and super rares. And so I bought their limiteds. Did it with Hulk. I made like a Minero stack in limited. I did did I do a full? I don't think I did a full sporting stack, but I did like Adon, Coates, Pote. And at the time, those were just cards that certain super rares that I couldn't ever dream of getting. And so I had some success early on in limiteds, part of which because there wasn't much competition, because there just weren't that many there weren't that many limited cards out there. And so it felt like I was successful by like just buying the best cards and playing them. And the more success I had as time went on, you snowball rewards, and it was one of those things that I could have, when I completely brick my rare and rare pro lineups, at least I have some limiteds to look forward to. And I started playing in a way that was just kind of lazy. Like I didn't buy Mbappe, I didn't buy Haaland, I didn't buy Benzema. Like I didn't buy those top guys. I did buy Messi, and I did buy Neymar. For some reason, I decided, I bought Neymar when he was hurt, and I was like, he's too cheap. Like he shouldn't be this cheap. I'm going to stop for a second. Mike Baston is right. So anyone who's here live, the MLB deadline is in 45 minutes. I like rush to do my lineups before the show. So thank you, Mike, for that. If anybody plays. So the way that I played limiteds was I have like almost the best cards, and I'm going to use those cards to win the best cards. And I never won the best cards. I think the best finish I had was third in Challenger Europe when I won a Grimaldo. I'm almost certain I didn't have a real limited podium other than that. I don't think I finished first. I'm going to look at my So Rare screen here for a second. I think I did finish was it Specialist? Challenger Europe Limited. I thought I finished first in Specialist. Oh, yeah. Specialist Limited. Oh, I finished second. Excuse me. Or third. Is that a bronze? I don't know. Whatever. So it was a lazy way to play. And it got boring for me. And when that time that I won Grimaldo, which is actually the second time I had won him, but he was like a tier 0 the second time. When I wasn't excited about that, I realized I needed to get out. It was a waste of resources for me. My rare and rare pro lineups were not doing that well, and the resources I had tied up in limited cards could be used elsewhere. And so that's what I did. So I sold all my limiteds and I bought a Messi rare. And at that point, I did have like the Coates super rare I thought I'd never have, and a bunch of other cards that I didn't think I would ever have, but I got to that point where I was able to get them. And it just took a global recession for me to get there. But the exercises that we're doing on limited time only now has completely changed the way that I think of limiteds. And part of it is because of the lower price point, that if you're not spending like 1.5 ETH on a single card, $2,000, like it's a little easier to stomach when you buy an $8 card. And it's actually exposing new players and leagues to me that normally I would have never looked at, which you would think I would, because it was like, oh, if you can just buy the best players, just find those high scoring players. But this is actually, for some reason, not only am I choosing the cheapest scarcity, but I'm also trying to find not literally the cheapest way, but a cheaper way to play. And the whole scouting thing, and now I understand why when I posted a limited card for 0.001 and would get counter offers back at 0.00099, like I get it now, because I'm doing that. I think I sent that to something to Keith the other day, that somebody wanted like 0.011 for a card and I offered 0.010. And I remember, like, before I started doing this, I was like, just buy the card. It's like 80 cents difference. And now that we're like tracking everything and we're trying to make an ROI basically like per card, I'm now doing that. And so it's kind of, it's opened me up to how a lot of people play this game that I think I basically was ignoring. And from a Sorare data content perspective, that's really bad too, because I think it's really important for me to understand like what everybody is looking at and is interested in. And this is helping me do that. So it's great. Looking down at my screen here, I see Luis Maximiano is playing today. That's great. And Alex Wilson is right. Haggling is another great joy. I do love the whole counter offer option, just opens things up, and makes it a ton of fun. And you can see not only how petty other people are, but just like how petty you are. That somebody offers you $4 for a card that you have listed $4.05, and you're like, I'm not giving that nickel up. You're going to have to pay for it. And it's just things like that that I don't do on the rare and super rare level, because it's almost like the risk is not worth it. And so it's just fun being able to find these other cards. Like I have these, I was talking about it yesterday. Was that yesterday on limited time only? Yeah, it was yesterday. Like what my lineups look like for this week. I actually had to change them a little bit and I was really disappointed about it. But, you know, if you a few months ago were like, yeah, you're going to have like a Hamburg and St. Etienne stacks in game week, whatever the heck we're in, 403. I'd be like, why would I do that? And now it's like, yeah, I get it. The international stuff is threw a wrench in it, because I actually kind of hate internet. Like I hate Sorare international stuff. Keith's all about it. Like he keeps DMing me with like guys he's finding. And I'm just like, I really don't like this. Not that I don't like it, but I just, so we'll see. We'll see. Apparently Emmanuel Ioha is not starting tonight, which is just fun. I don't even know where I have him. But so that was like one of the fun things that has like basically come up in like finding a new way to like really enjoy Sorare. And I talked about this was it last week when I showed everyone like the Midland diagram? And just going through that was fun. And doing that has absolutely nothing to do with making my lineups better or figuring out new cards to get or how much I should pay for cards. Like there's so many ways that you can enjoy your cards and Sorare that really have nothing to do with the game. And it kind of reminded me of the conversation that Nep and I had about microtransactions and what sort of cosmetic things that we would buy for our club. And I started to get that thought of when I was doing the diagram, and it was like, oh, wow, I wish there was a way that I could look at this Reynoso card and like easily see the cards that's helped me win. And obviously you can do that on Sorare data, but there's like nothing like on Sorare that I can show off to everybody and be like, look how great this card has been for me. And I think we had discussed like cases, and because you can't really change NFTs. And so like you put your card in a case and, or it says rookie card, or it says whatever, you know, podium game week 304 all-star rare, whatever it is. And it got me thinking of the other ways that you can really have fun with Sorare that have nothing to do with the fantasy game, that almost have nothing to do with fantasy game. Because the whole point of that Reynoso diagram was like, what did he help me win? But just going down that rabbit hole was enjoyable. Like, oh wow, I didn't realize he got me that card, which I then used with Reynoso to win this other one. And it makes you realize just how important this sounds really crazy. It makes you realize how important winning cards is, because the literal snowball, of being able to do that. And I think I've been doing this recently with baseball, but I have like full lineups of rewards, meaning all of the cards that I've won are now winning rewards. And I don't think I ever do that with football, if only because I generally sell every goalie I win because they're never one I really want. But it's just fun to like do stuff like that, and having the cards allows you to do that. And it has nothing to do with like collecting, or at least not like the collection game, but it's just like, it's something to do. I know that like that sounds kind of funny too. Like, oh yeah, it's something to do. But it's like, this is a hobby for a lot of people. Obviously I have this dual like hobby and it's my job, but like my gallery is not my job. And so I'm able to use that and the different ways that you can enjoy your Sorare experience. And was wondering, basically back to the microtransactions thing, that are there ways where like I would pay to be able to see all of these when you like, if you went onto Sorare and like checked lineups and the leaderboard and you saw my name and it was like, these 5 cards were rewards because they're all in cases that show it's a reward. I think that would be pretty cool. I do think it would end up pissing a lot of people off, because you would see someone like Nanzo who just has like pages of lineups that are just rewards. And you're like, man, rich get richer, but that's life. Kevin Hurd said, speaking of counter offers, it's nuts that if someone offers to trade a card, you can't counter and ask for cash ETH. So you used to be able to, and they took that ability away because people were basically like going back and forth. Like imagine you and I were going back and forth with like 3 cards on your side, 2 on mine, and we keep moving them around. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I like this one, but you don't notice that I added in that you're giving me $1,000. And then you hit accept and you're like, oh my gosh, my money's gone. So that was one of those things that they had to save people from themselves. I will say that it's frustrating, and other people have brought this up, that you can't use cash and ETH to like, it's like if you had $500 and 0.5 ETH and you need 0.6 ETH for a card, or $600, that you can't combine them. Like, I don't think anybody's actually asking for Sorare to convert their cash to ETH or ETH to cash, but it's just like a card and ETH. Like, allow me to do a card, ETH and cash, or cash and ETH. Like, I would be willing to take a split payment basically, but I don't know what the reason is for that. I guess the dual wallets aren't made for it. I don't know, but that's the reason, I think. Jordan says, since you've been doing this, have you sold any cards for a loss? I have not. And I do have cards that are down from when I bought them. And as of right now, I'm holding on to them. And I think, to be completely honest, I think what I will end up doing is at some point selling them all to a trader and going from there. But I haven't really gotten to that yet. And I actually had a conversation with Keith yesterday about one specific card that I was getting offers for. The floor is now like below where I bought it. And it was a Lars Stindl Limited. I don't know why I'm like beating around the bush here. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So I had 2 Lars Stindl Limiteds. Where's Lars here? So I bought both of them. Let's see. I bought one for $16.39 and another for $16.83. And then I sold one for $19.08. That was a 36, the first one. Yeah. So I have this one that I bought for $16.83. The floor is now 15 and change, I'm guessing. Yeah, just under $16. And somebody offered to buy this card for me for 15, I think. And I was like, I'm just going to hold it. And I sold the other one because I wasn't going to play them this week anyway. But so the answer is no, I haven't yet. And I don't know if I should. That's the other thing. Like, I don't know if I should. And so, yeah, we'll see. ZM Star has been out this week. Did we drop the whole you cutting a pineapple thing? I forgot about that. I don't have a pineapple in my house right now, so I will try to remember that for next week. We'll see. Sorry, just kept catching up on the chat here. Glenn said, it's kind of annoying that we can't do that, which I assume means asking people for ETH, because people are careless. You have to click confirm about 1,500 times on transactions. Yeah, I actually have talked about this with other people before, that it feels like Sorare is being overprotective of, I was going to call them dumb, but that's not fair, forgetful users or forgetful people or people who don't look at the details. But you probably want them to err on the side of caution with that, instead of having to deal with people who go on Twitter and talk about how they got ripped off on Sorare because they have this option where you can ask for cash. I think it's annoying as well, but I don't know. We'll see. Metal Gear said, Sorare missing already a lot of revenue because of the dual wallet cannot function in auctions and offers. They are working on a fix for that. Probably. I don't know what the problem is, to be honest. And someone said some Saudi club is going to offer 200 million pounds for Salah. I don't have a Salah, so go nuts. We'll see. Germ said, I don't see why it's an issue in a trade for seller to accept reject, but can understand why it's not available for instant purchases. Is that for the using both wallets? Yeah, I don't know. Rico Mon said, what's your opinion on the 5% one-time only boost in MLB? Would you like that for football? I think it's incredibly dumb, to be honest. I would never use it. And when I was doing my lineups, I thought it was funny that in order to submit your lineups, it literally says skip boost and submit lineups. When I'm the boosting, XP and boosting in baseball feels so unnecessary that, like, this week I didn't even do training lineups, and a lot of weeks I don't do them. And between us, I don't want everybody to know this. All right, it's just between us. My son does all my baseball lineups, to the point actually that he calls them his lineups, except this week because he's in school right now. I didn't realize the deadline was so early. He would have done them last night, but he's the total brains. I don't know if that Does that fall under multi-accounting? Because there's two of us. I'm the one who actually, well, I'm actually not even the one that puts it in. I own all the cards. So does that matter? I feel like somebody's going to report me. Anyway, let's see here. Germ said, no matter how many safeguards are put in place by Sorare, morons are going to moron. Yeah, I mean, I get it. But you want to make it harder for people to get scammed. Not scammed. Yeah, scammed. You want it to be harder for people to get scammed. But yeah. Does Sorare data have the numbers on how many use the one-time boost? I don't think so. I don't think so. Germ said a 5% boost is only going to get you 6 points max. I mean, 6 can be a lot. So it's one of those things that you don't need it until you need it. And that's really lazy analysis and an argument. But so like Nep is really into this collection game. We all know this. And there are instances where he has looked at leaderboards and like somebody beats someone else by 2 points. And he's like, they won because they have a 3% collection bonus on this one player. Like that's why they won. And then he wins All-Star Super Rare by like 70 points. And he would have won it if he had 0 collection bonus. And so like, does it matter? It matters when it matters. And so you can make the argument that you always want to score the most points. And then, so therefore you should do everything you can to like maximize your points. But Acuna hitting a home run is more important than your collection bonus. That's all. Josh says, if that's multi-accounting, which means my son helping me with my baseball lineups, then I'm getting banned for playing with Sorare Data's lineup suggestions. Fair. That's not another human, though. Not completely, at least. ZM Star, what do you got here? Do you think that they should just unlock any amount of boosts you want to use on a player for football for XP? Why do they care if I use all my coins to boost my cards to 20%? I don't think they want 20% cards out there, like artificially. Oh, here you go. DD Soros, there it is. I generally agree the boost is dumb, but I missed out on a super rare reward this week in MLB by 3 points or so. So firstly, you missed out on a reward because one of your players didn't get a hit. Like fundamentally. If you want to blame it on XP, like that's fine. But you missed out because they didn't do enough on the field. And like, I'm more willing to think of that because I'm fundamentally, I want to believe that this continues to be a fantasy game that depends on what players do on the field. And all of these extra boosts make it less about that. And I don't really love that. And somebody pointed out to me that, because I made this point that I felt like when they announced fitness, which came after collections, that we were going to have a time where we were less concerned about what our players did on the pitch for football or on the field for basketball or baseball or the court in basketball. And that there were going to be instances where one card scored more points than the other in the fantasy game, even though that player did less on the pitch. And I don't like that. If that's the game, like I'll play it because they already got me. But I just didn't love that. And the fitness and collection just expounded on that. And they were like, well, do you like XP? Like the regular XP? And I was like, I love it. Because I have a bunch of cards that are like level 20 and maxed out. And they're like, so isn't that the same thing though? And they were right. Yeah, it's the same thing. But it always felt like XP was meant to create a situation where you hold on to your cards forever. You collect them, you hold them. And everything they've done since makes it obvious that they don't want you to do that. Like they want us to just keep going out and buying more new cards. And I get that too. Like from their perspective, me buying 5 cards 5 years ago and making a ton of ETH and winning a ton of rewards is bad. Like for baseball, let me see. Let's pull this up here. Let's see what the last time I bought a baseball card was. I'm going to tell you it's been a while. Oh, wait, this is just pictures. So I own 176 baseball cards. The last card I actually bought, I believe, was in the playoffs last year. I'm pretty sure it was this Corbin Burns card that I spent $16.47 on. I'm pretty sure he ended up getting rocked too. So is this 11 months ago, I bought a baseball card. Since then, these are the rewards that I've won. And the easiest way to see that, like to see what I've won, is that it's a current season card, because I have not bought a 2023 MLB card. So granted, I had a lot of cards already. Like I did buy a lot of cards last year. But ultimately, starting with this John Gray card and moving up, I have bought 0 of these cards. Is that sustainable for Sorare? Is it good that I was able to basically almost double my collection by putting in no extra money? And that's where you have to think, wait, that might be a problem. Not from my perspective. It's great for me. But at some point, you can't have this, right? Like fundamentally, the game doesn't work unless, obviously, oh yeah, you need all new users. But at some point, the game's got to be more sustainable than just bring in more people. So we'll see. Let me get back to the chat here, because there are a bunch of ones that I haven't hit yet. So Ramalto, from an enjoyment standpoint, do you get excited when putting together limited lineups, when you know the potential of rare or better lineups and how much rewarding it can be? So this is a great question. This is really where I should have started, because fundamentally this is a great question. Excuse me. The answer is I've had more fun recently making limited lineups. And the reason that's the case is because I have tried to play the game differently than I play rare and super rare. And the ability to try new strategies for significantly less financial outlay is exciting to me. And I haven't done it nearly long enough to know if it actually works. But if you view it by enjoyment, it's working. Like I'm buying football cards in order to try these new strategies for doing different things. And what I'm doing on the football side doesn't apply to baseball. It just, like, the way that I'm playing, there's too much variance in baseball, and they're very different games. I'll put it that way. And so the limited lineups, I'm going more with let's see if this works. And I get really excited if it does. And for my rare and super rare lineups, just where my gallery is now, I rely really heavily on cards that I invested significantly in, whether it's with ETH or card trades and all this stuff. And it's not so much the risk that is, and it's not even like a worry, but it almost feels like I have to get something out of those cards. And I almost lose excitement over it because of that. Like this Adon super rare that I got recently. It's like, I need to start getting returns from this card. I don't know why I feel like I need to do this immediately, other than the fact that he's probably retiring or leaving at the end of the season. But I've always been someone where like when the stakes are higher, it adds more pressure, and I don't enjoy that part of it. I like the upside is fun enough. Or if I'm like, I actually got this to work, then that's fun. But from a pure enjoyment standpoint, so actually, let me take a step back on that. My rare and super rare gallery, and generally where I play cards, and I'm very much a person who's like, you don't like get a card to like, I am getting this card to play in Challenger Super Rare every week. Like, you cannot do that. I think that's really bad strategy. But generally, I have cards that I will play together, Adon and Coates, or it's really, I guess, just goalkeeper, defender. But like, ultimately, like I want my best cards and my best lineups. And so when I put my best cards out there and I look and I'm like, man, these have no chance. Like that's a struggle. And so that's when you're like, all right, well, let me look ahead. And when do these actually line up? And can I actually benefit from these cards? And it just feels like, in terms of card acquisition now, I'm doing it to complement the cards that I have, whether it's someone else from the team or someone else from the same league. So I know when, if they have like a random off week or they're the only ones on, then I have cards for that. And so my rare and super rare gallery is more about filling holes or improvements where I can. And at the limited level, I don't really have much of a gallery. And so it's really trying something new each week. Hey, I'm going to play second division Europe. Who are the best second division cards? Are there any cheap guys from here? And I don't play rare and super rare that way. And so again, like what I was saying at the beginning, like it's a very different way to play than I have been playing. And that's been really exciting for me. And MLB does not offer that. Part of it is because like I have so many, like I have 176 MLB cards, and I think the most I can play in a week is 70. So it's like over 100 cards, like more than half my gallery of just extra cards. But kind of the way that baseball works is you want those cards so that when the situations come up, you have them. And NBA is kind of like that too. But there's just so many football competitions, which I think is a good thing. I know it's like overwhelming for others, but it's just, so from an enjoyment standpoint, yeah, I'm enjoying the limited stuff more just because it's different, it's new, and it's a way that I don't think I can really play rare and super rare. I've thought of it though. I've definitely thought of it, and we'll see. Okay. Sorry, going through the chats again. Like Basson said, agree 100%. Once what happens in real games may as well make it all RNG. Yeah. ZM start with a shout out to Barry Bonds. I will never use a cream and clear boost in MLB. Love that one. Let's see. Ricamon said Polina to Bayern is off. His limited graph is amazing. So obviously we'll check that out. I don't know why anyone would think that was a good move for him. Like, is he really going to play there? Oh no, my goodness gracious. Like, is João Polina maybe playing for Bayern really worth that? Really? Tuggy says limited is like MME, which is mass multi-entry DFS. I think it's closer to that. I think you're absolutely right. Definitely right. And Nikonid says, I think disengagement is also pretty real for MLB. So MLB is the easiest to play completely disengaged. And that's a problem, I think. I think ultimately the game, I actually find the game itself interesting and enjoyable. And I don't really follow baseball a ton. Like I know what's going on, but I'm not sweating the Yankees every night, which is ironic since I've gone to dozens, if not hundreds, of Yankee games in my life. But I never sweat my Sorare MLB lineups. I have no idea. I would never know how well they're doing until my son says something. The best is when he says something on like a Tuesday or Wednesday, and he's like, Dad, we're third in rare all-star. And I'm like, isn't it Tuesday? Like, we've had one game. And he's like, yeah, but we're third. I'm like, has our pitcher gone? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, all right. So we'll finish 325th. And I don't actually say that to him. I let him stay excited. But it's just I check on Fridays and Mondays when I know the deadline's coming, and I'm like, oh, did I win it? I know we have rewards because my son will tell me Friday morning, like, Dad, we won whatever it was. And he will text me at some point in the next few hours asking what we won. And then I'll have to tell him that I did the lineups, and we probably won't win anything this week because I did them. Ben says, how much do you think the 5% fee helped Sorare's sustainability? I think it didn't help at all. No, that's not true. That's not true. If it helped significantly, I don't think they would be talking about selling fitness packs. So there's that. I do think the delay in fitness, which obviously means a delay in buying fitness packs, as they've described them, is I think it was Maxime who said it initially. And I think I brought it up with Nep. I think we did, yeah. But basically, I feel like they should have started with cosmetics. And I am not someone, I didn't think I was someone who would be interested in cosmetics. And Maxime and I definitely talked about it on office hours. And I was like, he was talking about, I think it was Call of Duty or something. We buy skins and stuff like that. And he was like, I never thought I would. And then the opportunity came and I was like, yeah, I'm definitely buying that. And I finished that conversation thinking I would never buy something from Sorare to do it. And then I had this conversation with Nep, and we talked about the cases and like, if you had the stadium or a way to display your cards, like, would you pay a little bit to do those certain things? And I don't know if it was his enthusiasm over it or what, but then that's when I was like, maybe I would spend a few dollars here and there. And my biggest fear actually of all of this is we think about these microtransactions and we're like, yeah, we would pay $1 for that. And Sorare's like, we're going to do that. And it's going to cost you $15. And we're all like, I'm not going to spend that. Like, the amount of times like somebody comes out with something and they just like way overprice it. And you're just like, oh yeah, I'm not interested. And that actually gives you the sour taste of when they do lower it to like $1 and you're like, nah, I'm already off. Like, you've already convinced yourself you don't want it. Oh, Isco's absolutely right. Yeah, Armani and Diaz. Oof. Man. Josh XL's limited is the rare and super rares free-to-play experience. It really doesn't matter as much as rare and super rare, but reminds you of the fun of the game itself. I feel like that almost implies that the free-to-play was fun, and it's never been fun. Metal Gear, when Cap 240 unique team, don't go down through divisions, but up. I've considered it. Absolutely. I'm just not there. Not there. Ricardo says Chani bought a Polina Super Rare 6 hours ago. Ah, man. Oh. Chani, what are we doing? Yeah, I hate the transfer window. Mike Basson said Borna Sosa is another. Oh, yeah. So shout out to Scosmo for Borna Sosa. Let's see what we. Oh, that is a fun one. That is great. Oh, the rare one looks like a limited one. I guess people like this move. Oh, wow. Now it's coming crashing back down. Like, why does this man? I mean, obviously it's significantly up. Let's see. Yesterday, one sold for $6.91. The last sale is $17.98, which is a lot. And the peak was $32.76. I almost called this the NEP. I feel like we should start calling him the highest point on a graph in NEP. You think he would be okay with that? He's never going to watch me again after I said that. Rose said the transfer window in Germany is closed. All right. ZM Star, MLB would need to move to true daily for it to have better engagement. I think I would stop playing if it was daily. I have no interest in setting baseball lineups every single day. I'm cringing at the possibility of it. Ooh. Ricardo said, how fun is to share the Sorare moments with your son? Should be awesome. So we won Rare All-Star last summer, and I posted a video of it when we won Yordan Alvarez, and he was pumped. Like it is fun. It is kind of also funny when he's like talks about buying cards because he has no money in this. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying any cards. And he was like, yeah, but we can. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. What we have is what, but you can see, like, we win a ton of rewards. But he gets the full Sorare experience where we go to open rewards and like the things show up to like give you hints of what the card is. And he's like, another relief pitcher. Or the card comes up and my son like loves baseball and the card comes up and he's like, I have no idea who that is. And then we look it up and we're like, oh, we can sell this rare card for 12 cents. But it is fun. It is a really fun thing that my son is old enough to be into. Like he asks me about the football lineups all the time, but I think he also realizes that I'm in much deeper on that than I am MLB. Mike said MLB is the perfect side game because of it not needing that much engagement. The problem is that you can't run a business that's a side game. I don't know. Surface, who I know loves baseball, and I see I'm a ton of comments behind, so I'll try to catch up here. I think it's a matter of context for MLB. The issue is the football product is so good, so MLB sometimes seems lackluster, but compared to my traditional fantasy baseball league, MLB Sorare is great. So yes, this is 100% true. The tradition, and I think Surface might give me a hard time for this anyway. Traditional fantasy baseball absolutely sucks. And the only reason people play it is the same reason that people play FPL, just because it's been around and that's what they know. But both of those games are absolute garbage, and I will not be convinced otherwise. And I used to work for a company that literally made almost all of its money on fantasy baseball. So I'm sorry. Let's see. Tuggy says, I would buy my son clothes for Christmas and put it in a PS5 box. That's not fun. And Alex, Larry does have a soft spot for Midland. Was it yesterday? We were just talking about Midland, how they did. And he was like, oh man, Lossell conceded. And I was like, yeah, but they shouldn't have won. And he was like, well, they're out now. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, oh, so now we don't have any midweeks. He's into it. He is into it. And we've watched Midland together. Like, I've literally sat down because of Sorare. I have literally sat down and watched the Danish Super League game featuring Midland with my son because of Sorare. Is this Nikonid? If you're here and you can give me a little pronunciation, but just feels like a one-sided relationship where there hasn't been many collaborations with MLB. So yeah, I think they just need to do more. I think we all kind of are in agreement that it's moved really slowly. And it doesn't feel like they're moving slowly because they're being cautious. And that worries me. That doesn't worry me, but I'm bummed about that because I think that there is a lot of potential for these cards to be used in certain ways that's exciting, but they haven't provided enough excitement yet. The collection stuff was like, so I did a video with Mike Zakarian over on the Team Hold YouTube channel a while ago about how I think they were going to bring collections to MLB and NBA because they had it for football and it kind of made sense. And I noticed on that show that they had the collection pages for MLB up already, but it was done by team, not by scarcity. And I was like, oh, they don't. Oh, and NBA too. And I was like, oh, they don't do this for football. They do it by scarcity. So it's interesting that you'd have both. And then they announced the collection game. I was like, oh, okay. And it was like, yeah, boost your cards by filling your collection. And then I was like, wait, this is by team. I think it was YNWA who was the loudest on Twitter. I was like, so I can boost my uniques by buying limiteds. And then they were like, okay, never mind. We're not doing that. And it was frustrating because like I realized that there probably isn't a lot of collaboration between Paris and New York when it comes to these products. But football collections have been out for a while, and it's very clear like why they theoretically work. I think it would be nice just to have team collections. I don't even need bonus points for it. If you're going to make me buy a Midtjylland thing so I can put all my Midtjylland cards in it, like I'll probably pay $1 for that. But it was disappointing, and I feel like it's just been a while since we got an NBA or an NBA or an MLB announcement where people were like really excited. And I don't even play the super rare level, but I saw that they came out with new super rare contests. Surface, you play. Did I actually see this correctly? Also, by the way, please fix this coin thing. This was another thing that like they had coins in football that looked like this, and then they put them all in one. And MLB, they were like, "Oh no, we get it. We'll fix it." So they have now. Did they get rid of it already? Or they maybe it just hasn't started yet? They had like the league specific super rare, like super rare American League and super rare National League, but they aren't doing them at the same game week. Like the cards don't overlap. You can do it. Do both. Like give us more ways to play. I got to catch up on the chat. Sorry, guys, because you were probably chatting about baseball and I don't see it. So Mike Bassett said Nellis found that out with his initial pricing of his YouTube subscription. So like Nellis is exactly who I was thinking about. Johnny said, I used to love the old free-to-play winning cards every game week and discovering players through it. I don't think we really loved it. I think you remember something that didn't actually happen. Like it was just a thing. We just had them. I don't think anybody was actually, I don't think you really loved it. But I think back on it positively and think, man, if they had just done that game with regional competitions, that would have been fun. Ben Johnson also said the old free-to-play was great, and the old academy guaranteed people a chance at a limited each week. Yeah. All right, we got some transfer updates here. Davinson Sanchez to PSV seems likely to happen. No hype on Davy Klaassen to Inter. That's a weird one. Sorare Malta. Oh yeah, Chani bought a THB. That I was going to buy a THB like the other day and didn't. And it was like, that's another one. Let's see where Taylor Harwood Bellis is now, price wise. Yeah, a little bit of a spike there. Man, yeah, we blew that one, boys. Anyway, Germ said, do you let him compose trades to improve the quality? I don't. No. And Ben said, will you let him trade his baseball rewards for a better player? We haven't really talked about it. I don't even really know what the MLB trading is like. Like I went to Pavel's gallery for NBA, I think for MLB, and he just had like nothing. And so we'll see. Scott Burton said, I got a tier 2 relief pitcher and that I thought he was my tier 4. His scores were that bad. So I think they're not giving away enough rewards, good rewards in MLB. And I feel like the justification of that is, well, we can't give away too many great cards because then the prices will fall. I actually don't think we care. I mean, who the hell's selling baseball cards anyway? Alex said, I used to love ESPN, fantasy, NFL, and the draft experience is one of the fun nights of the year. So the biggest problem with that is that is actually the most fun night of the year. It's all downhill from there. And again, I used to play that stuff all the time. Literally. Germ says, sounds like one of you is getting a Midtjylland jersey for Christmas. So I actually went to buy a Lee Handbum jersey from the Midtjylland store. And it was like $200 with like the shipping and currency conversion, all that stuff. And I was like, man, I need to find a cheaper jersey here. Mike Bass, we've been watching One Football for weeks now. Oyston said, will Sorare ever fix the percentage on limited and rare being the same? It must be an easy fix. I don't think they need to fix it. Like if they're not playing are they playing in the same competitions anywhere? Like we don't have limited pro, so I don't think it actually matters. But yes, they could fix it, I guess. Nick and it said, I'm kind of just disappointed by the lack of love for American experiences overall. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Surface said starts next game week. The whole super rare American League and National League. Surface, since you're here and you have I think you play super rares. Like, what is the reason to only have American League or National League and not both in the same game? Ben Johnson said, what was that you had on your screen about redrafting your MLB league team? I think that's the hearing. This is just the common league. Redraft unlimited times during scrimmage week to practice optimizing your team. I don't know what that is. Sorry. I guess I should look into it. Wilson said, I loved winning a common goalkeeper to use in my 100 training lineups. That's fair. That was fun. Server says, I sell MLB cards every game week. People are buying them for sure. They just aren't worth a ton. So do you think that introducing that rewarding more tier 1 cards would crash prices enough where it's not worth doing that? Like, they give out like 5 tier 1s a game week. Like, that's wild to me. Tier 1 is the top tier for MLB for those who are unfamiliar. ZM Star, I can't fathom that there are Midtjylland jerseys on Canal Street, but if you're down there, hit me up and I'll come down and I'll get one. But that Mike Basson said, order the Midtjylland jersey to work and pick it up the next time you're in France. Yeah, that's fair. That's a good. Nick and it said, meant experiences for MLS, MLB, NBA tickets in March. I agree with you that it's a little underwhelming. I think part of it is that we don't know about it because there are not that many there's no American John Nellis. And so it's difficult for them to like send someone all over the US to these experiences that might not be that fun. Anyway. Yeah, they had the MLB postseason tickets. So the other so the United States is really big. And so even if Sorare could theoretically call me today and be like, hey, we got tickets to, where's Messi this weekend? LA, right? We got tickets, LA FC versus Inter Miami. Do you want to go? It's like, of course I want to go. It's also 3,000 miles from me and hundreds of dollars to fly. And so that part is just difficult. That to get like send people all these games, and they could be sending a ton of people to games for all we know. But as long as there's no like content creator who's like, Sorare sent me to this. Let's see. Hey, here's a hot dog. There's just not. Maybe we don't know. Surfer said, if there was an actual reason, I assume it was a bad one. 1, a way to give out less rewards, but still doing something. And 2, it causes more card movement, which is fees, both dumb reasons. Yeah, ZM Star says they can get Nellis in a camper and a cowboy hat across the US with John Nellis. So Nick and Nid said, I flew into Houston for a World Series game. So that's the other thing, is that with the way that like the playoff format works, they can call you and say, hey, we've got tickets to the World Series. Do you want to go? It's like, sure. Where is it? Well, we don't know yet because they're not in it. And we'll know 2 days before. It's like, it's just tough. Charlie said, I honestly can't think of another company in the world that doesn't comp tickets with travel and stay. Maybe because we just don't know them yet. Yeah. Surface said they offered me tickets to LAFC versus Inter, meaning they offered them a Surface, because I was 100 miles away, but I couldn't go. See, 100 miles I would do. 3,000 is tough for me. It is what it is. I'll be honest that I feel amazing envy and jealousy when I see people go to European football matches because of Sorare, because I can't reasonably go. Didi Sorare said, I got tickets to that World Series too. It was a big expense overall. Wouldn't have done it if it wasn't the World Series. Didi Sorare, were the teams that played teams that you, well, I guess it was a big expense. So probably that, like a local team. But like, did you care about the teams? Were they one of yours? I don't know. I feel like there's all this talk that they have all these like real world experiences, and just a lot of them are very difficult, or they're extremely expensive for Sorare. So there it is. Mike said, "Are you closer to the UK or LA?" I'm dead in the middle. Like they're actually one's just as easy to get to than the other, and I wasn't going to LA. I'd be more willing to go to London than LA. We're at 65 minutes, guys. Didi Sorare says, I live in New Jersey and I root on the Red Sox. That is absolutely despicable. Oh, I'm just partially kidding. Yeah. What else you guys want to talk? What was my fake topic today? Oh, having fun. Yeah, I talked about that. We're good. Dusseldorf 1-1. Who scored? Engelhart. Never heard of him. Tough one. Mike's right. Time to hit the like button, please. Please. I stopped asking and I noticed the likes started going down, which is kind of weird. I don't know why it's weird, but David Alzabez said Lisbon and the Sporting Stack are close then. I would love to see a match in Portugal. I would love that. It's just not that easy for me to do things like that. Surfer said one nice thing about the Super Rare League, the Super Rare League specific contests, is that first gets a tier 1 Super Rare All-Star doesn't even reward a tier 1. I think the MLB rewards are completely broken. Like I think they should just start over, because I think it's broken. It's really, really frustrating that, like, if you, let's see here. So for limited All-Star, they give out 3 tier 1s. Limited American League, they give 3. Limited National League, they give 3. And Limited Pro, they give 0. Because is it actually 0? Yeah, 0. Because they give a tier 1 rare to first place. So what did we count? Was it 9? 9 limited tier 1s every game week. This is of a scarcity that is out of 5,000 cards. We are in the final month of the Major League Baseball regular season. And Ronald Acuna Jr., one of the best players in the entire game, has had 98 limited cards minted of 5,000. Let's see. Christian Yelich, 191. Corbin Burns, 187. Like, these are the highest ones that we're seeing. Oh, Alex Bregman, 203. It's kind of a weird thing, because I very rarely, that's actually not true. I was going to say very rarely do I see people post on Twitter about how excited they are to win MLB rewards. And I don't think that's actually accurate, because I do see a lot of people who get excited about it. Bob is one, Orange Fly, Just Mike It. I feel like I've seen tweets of them being like, wow, I won this whatever super rare is, because they play in like the top division. But it's so rare. I didn't even mean to do that. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen that people get really excited. And like, that's how you get like word out that in all limited divisions. Let me see if I can, does that work on this? Oh, I can't sort this. Hold on, sorry. There's just not enough excitement. There are not enough people excited. On the rares. So rares are out of 1,000. We get one tier 1 in Rare All-Star, which theoretically is the biggest tournament they have. Rare American League, 1 tier 1. Rare National League, 1 tier 1. Rare Pro, 0 tier 1s because you win worthless super rares. Surface said the tier 1 tier is probably the highest purchase tier of cards. Not rewarding a ton is a way to help them maintain their value, which is important while the product team is flailing. So, of course, they're the highest purchase ones because nobody wants tier 2 and tier 3 cards. But I actually think that rewarding more tier 1s and potentially making those cards less valuable is more valuable to Sorare in the long run because there are more people talking about the card, how excited they are that they won whatever card it is. And that there are situations where we can go weeks without people winning certain cards. And that's really disappointing. I'm going to try to see here. I guess the last few Aaron Judge rewards have been out. I was going to say, like, it just doesn't seem like there are that many Aaron Judge cards out there. Surface said, yeah, it would be exciting to have more, but it would be equally bad if T1 prices tanked, and they have surprisingly done okay. I don't think they would. I mean, maybe they would tank. I don't really know. I don't think we would know until they did it, but not many. So, like, are the tier 1s that you're selling what cards you bought? Because there's just not enough out there being rewarded that it matters. Like, even if they quadrupled it, it's not like you're giving out 5 Mookie Bettses. It's just 5 tier 1 cards. Like, they could do so many more, and it's really, I will not believe that it would tank tier 1 prices if they gave away 10 every game week instead of 3. I guess it's 30 instead of 10. Like, I don't know. Nikonid said the lack of content beyond Sorare first pitch. Shout out to Alex Hooper. Tells a lot too. There is more than that, but yeah, I don't know. Charlie said, is it okay for Sorare MLB to basically drip feed mints to keep prices stable, or should they be minting all 5,000? So absolutely not minting all 5,000. 5,000 was a mistake, like a gigantic mistake. And so I hope they never even consider it. But I don't know. And this is, Tuggy says exactly what I've always thought. They give them away as if they were the same scarcity as in soccer. And yeah, it's difficult, but I mean, it doesn't really matter what the numbers are, but meaning if they keep 5,000, like, so be it. But yeah. Tuggy said they should just change the scarcity numbers, be like, we fucked up, we're changing from here on out. I don't think it really matters at this point, but it does drive me nuts, and it drove me nuts from day one. But I think they need to get more cards in the game that people care about. And only being able to have one person win a tier 1 in a contest when the tier 1 pool has like 30 players in it. Like, that's the other thing. So this upcoming game week, let's do the live one since it has it started yet? Yeah. So, like, Rare All-Star, not 1,100 people have entered this, and they're giving away 1 tier 1 with a list of, I mean, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 33 players are in this pool, and they're going to give away 1. hold on, let's see here. Is it one? How many do you get? What did we say? In American League? Yeah, so they're giving away 3. They're giving away 3 out of 33 potential cards. And I don't know how you justify that. I really don't. Like, there are 373 people playing. I don't even know which one I clicked in. Rare American League. 374 in Rare National League and 715 in Rare Pro. And yet, 1,100 people in Rare All-Star and 1 gets a tier 1 of a group of 33 players. I wish I wasn't like angry about it, but it makes me not even consider buying baseball cards. Like, going back to how I haven't bought one this year, show me why. Like, you are asking me to buy baseball cards to make lineups better so that I can win the single rare tier 1 available in this contest. I will not do that. I will not do it. This was supposed to be a conversation about fun. Now I'm bummed at the end. Sorry, guys. Thanks for coming. If you guys could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. Surface said there are only 47 rares on the auction market right now. There is 1 tier 1 for sale. I'm not sure you realize how low they are keeping. Well, obviously they're keeping it very low. Yeah. Yeah. I don't. It feels like they're doing it to make sure it doesn't go to 0 when, like, even if it just went a little lower. I mean, let us have some fun. Like, they're actually making the game not fun by making it almost impossible to win cards you want to win. Like, we want to win the tier 1s and we don't want to have 1,100 people. And then when we do win the one, it's Rafi Devers, who I'm sure is fine, but he's a Red Sox and I don't want that. I don't know. I'm bummed. I'm bummed about that. Sorry, everyone. I'm going to go now to have some fun. Maybe. I don't know. I don't even know what time it is. I'll have some lunch. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining. Once again, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 4,000 subscribers, which I think is both fun and really low. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel or told all of your friends and family to, please do so. That'd be really helpful. And yeah, all that good stuff. Monday is Labor Day here in the United States, but not for that reason, for a different reason. I don't believe there's going to be a strategy show. However, Tuesday, office hours, if the plan comes to fruition, we're going to have a big announcement about Sorare data. So you might want to tune in for that. Thanks, everyone. Good luck this week.